Yeah, love Star Wars, baby. Yeah, love Star Wars. There's so many things about this franchise that I love. Oh, the scores, the cinematography, the characters, the actors and actresses, the directors, the story, oh, the themes, oh, the space battles. Yeah, it's awesome. If you don't like Star Wars, there's something wrong with you, cause Star Wars is amazing, baby. Let me say it one more time. Star Wars is amazing. Yeah, I had no idea that I was gonna sing for an intro. Yeah. Leave a like if you enjoyed my singing.
All his life, he never watching movies, and now he wants to share them with the world. So please put your hands together as I welcome Mr. Hollywood.
Let's begin. Woo, guys, what is up? That's right, it's Mr. Hollywood here, giving you another movie review. Star Wars week, you know, day 2. Let's get wide on the ball rolling. Before anything happens in this video, I want to tell you guys right now that I will be doing this review alone. That's right, guys, I'm not flying solo this time. I'm joined by my good YouTube buddy, MrDVB. And yes, this is Return of the Jedi, Mr. Hollywood Reviews.
The saga lives on. Return of the Jedi.
Without further ado, let's get started. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys, are you guys subscribed to the channel? If not, what are you waiting for? All you guys gotta do is hit that subscribe button so you can, well, enjoy the videos I post. Duh. Make sure to turn on those post notifications. Be a legend today. You can also be part of the Honey Squad, and you can be hashtag Notification Squad. To all my amazing Honey Stars out there who are probably watching this, you guys are all awesome. You guys are all legends. Thank you for supporting this channel and myself. I can't imagine what I would do without you guys. This video is gonna be very long, so brace yourself. Here we go! Return of the Jedi, also known as Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, is a 1983 American epic soap opera film directed by Richard I can't even pronounce his name. What is up with so many people having difficult names? The screenplay is by no one's Dan. Okay, that guy again. And Joe Lucas was from a story by Lucas, who was also the executive producer. This is a dope installment in the original Star Wars trilogy and the first film to use T8X technology. The film is set 1 year after The Empire Strikes Back and was produced by Howard Lucasfilm Ltd. The film stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Benny D. Williams, Anthony Daniels, David Posmeyer, Kenny Baker, Peter may watch and think ours. So, you're probably wondering to yourself right now while you're watching this video on your timeline, your phone, or whatever kind of device you have. You're probably wondering, Hollywood, what's the story for Return of the Jedi? I'm gonna give you the action throwdown. That also means I'm gonna give you information on what the story's about. I just wanted to be cool with it. That's okay, cool. The story is about the Galactic Empire, under the direction of the ruthless Emperor, is constructing a second Death Star in order to crush the Rebel Alliance once and for all. Since the Emperor plans to personally oversee the final stages of its construction, the Rebel fleet launches a full-scale attack on the Death Star in order to prevent its completion and kill the Emperor, effectively bringing an end to the Empire's hold over the galaxy. But meanwhile, Luke Skywalker, a Jedi apprentice, struggles to bring his father, Darth Vader, back to the night side of the Force. So guys, that is the plot for Return of the Jedi. I gotta say, this movie is very emotional. It's very story-driven. The characters are developed. There's a lot of stakes in this film. You feel the feels. You get the emotions. What Star Wars film does best? Bringing cool action scenes, kind of like space battles, but having character moments and emotional moments as well. The cinematography is outstanding. What else can I say? The direction of this movie is very well done. The color scheme is very good. And the actors and the actresses who are in this film, they give it their best. They bring their A game to this. They bring it on 100%. And my gosh, this film is very good. It's as good as The Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion. Well, no, but it is very good nonetheless. In fact, I would say it's amazing. Just not as amazing as The Empire Strikes Back, because I really do enjoy that film. The Ewoks, they're cute. They're cute and adorable, but you just want to pinch their little cheeks. Another thing, too, the score in this film is phenomenal, especially the end credit scene. Well, da-da-da-da, bringing Quins to a new level of Quins. Guys, I really enjoyed this film. I really did. It's very good. So good, in fact, that I'm gonna say that this is one of the best of the original Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, and this is the third and final one for the original series. You know, before this picks up, before the Force Awakens picks up many years after Return of the Jedi. So guys, what do I give Return of the Jedi? Well, I can give it any rating. Well, I don't know. This comes as no surprise. An A-. That's right. The Return of the Jedi gets an A-. It's not as good as Empire Strikes Back, but it is very good nonetheless. Last year, I saw this movie with MrDVB himself. You know, because he thought that I was gonna flake out and just be a wuss and not really see any of the Star Wars movies. So he said, hey, why not just, hey, you said that you're gonna do a review for Return of the Jedi. And I said, yeah. And he said, huh, okay, I'm just gonna watch this with you So I know that you're not lying to me or anything. So that way I know that you're telling the truth. And man, we watched it together. Oh man. We had ups, we had downs. But this movie is an emotional roller coaster. It really is. Like this video if you guys really enjoyed it. Comment down below and tell me what do you think of this movie if you've seen it. Follow me on social media, of course. And with all that said and done, guys, make sure to stay awesome, stay cool, stay freaking legend. I'm Mr. Hollywood signing out, and MrDVB, take it away.
So Star Wars Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, was released in 1983 and was directed by Richard Marquand, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and many other actors. So this is considered by a lot of people to be the worst of the original trilogy. Me personally, this is my all-time favorite Star Wars movie. I have so much nostalgia for this movie, and while I can admit that The Empire Strikes Back is a better-made film overall, there's just something about Return of the Jedi I've always found so special, and I don't really know exactly what it is. I think it's just the ending, honestly. It's just a perfect ending to a trilogy, a perfect ending to a series. And yes, while they did go on to make Force Awakens, there's just something about this ending that's so perfect and so special, seeing all our characters just celebrating. And yeah, I think this movie just has a really nice feel to it. It's a big, giant, like, awesome movie, in my opinion. I mean, it just wraps up the trilogy perfectly. So, in the film, we pick up about a year or so after Empire Strikes Back, where Luke Skywalker is trying to find and rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt, who was obviously brought to Tatooine by Boba Fett in the previous film, since Han Solo was frozen in carbon freeze. So, because of this, or frozen by carbonite, so the first 20 minutes of this film are basically them getting Han Solo back. And to be completely honest, I'm not a huge fan of the first 20 minutes. I still really like them. It's just, I prefer the rest of the movie, and the first 20 minutes just feel kind of out of place. They're really just there because of the fact that Harrison Ford wanted the character dead, so I guess they, you know, in Episode 5, they're kind of freezing him, not killing him off, so maybe they could kill him off, or maybe they couldn't. And then I guess Return of the Jedi, it's just the first 20 minutes, like, okay, yeah, he's alive, so we're gonna have to have a way to get him back. And I mean, I don't know, it definitely feels a little bit out of place, but I still like the first 20 minutes. But afterwards, we get the sail barge scene, which is awesome. I love the sail barge scene. The music there is amazing. The actual fight scene itself is great. Seeing Luke just like get his lightsaber from R2 and kill a couple of these guys. Boba Fett goes flying into the Sarlacc pit. Yeah, I know a lot of people hate it. I'm fine with it, honestly. But yeah, I love the Sarlacc, or like the sail barge scene. I think it's really awesome. And then after that, the rest of the film is basically dedicated to taking down the second Death Star, because even though the first one was destroyed, the Empire has not given up. They want the rebellion gone. So they create this new Death Star, which is even more deadlier than the last one. And instead of just, you know, firing an ion torpedo into the thermal oscillator, in this film they actually have to go onto a moon called the Forest Moon of Endor, where they will have to turn off the shield generator so that they can, you know, destroy the Death Star. And I really, really like the Endor part of this movie. I mean, the majority of this film takes place on Endor, and I really love the Endor scenes. The Ewoks don't bother me, honestly. Like, in my opinion, yes, they're there to, like, appeal to kids, it's no question, but it doesn't bother me. I don't think they're overly annoying, like the Gungans or anything. I mean, I think it would have been a little bit better if they had gone with the Wookiees instead, because obviously the Wookiees, you can get the idea. Like, I can see the Wookiees being able to take down the Empire. Like, if there was a bunch of them, I could see them taking down a group of stormtroopers. But when there's just little tiny Ewoks just throwing rocks and stuff, I don't buy it that much, but I'm fine with it. I mean, over time, I've just kind of learned to just say, like, yeah, whatever, that's what happened. So, yeah, we meet the Ewoks, which are actually, like, really cool. I actually really like the Ewoks, personally. And, you know, we get some pretty awesome scenes on Endor. Now, obviously, Luke still wants to go see Master Yoda, to talk to him about his father and stuff like that, to really find out if Darth Vader is his father, which is weird because, like, in this movie, Luke's supposed to have completed his training, so I assume he went back to Yoda, so why wouldn't he just ask him then? But, he goes to see Yoda, and Yoda's talking to him about how there's still another Skywalker, and then Yoda passes away. And this scene, I love, honestly. I used to find it boring when I was little, and I could never really understand anything Yoda was saying because of his voice, but, you know, when I watched it a couple of years ago, you can understand what he's saying, and I don't know, I just really like this scene. He's basically talking about how Luke has to confront and kill Vader, and Luke's saying, like, no, I can't kill my father, because, you know, obviously Yoda confirms that he's his father, and then Yoda passes away, which I think is one of the best and most emotional Star Wars deaths. I think this film actually has 2 extremely emotional Star Wars deaths, so yeah, Yoda passes away, and Luke talks to Force Obi-Wan, where he learns that Leia is his sister, and now Luke, knowing that Leia is his sister, he feels like he has to confront Vader and just end this. So he goes back to Endor, and he willingly goes to Darth Vader and willingly goes to the Death Star. I've always liked the scene where Vader's holding Luke's lightsaber, and he turns it on. He's like, "I see you've constructed a new lightsaber." Saying like, you underestimate the Darth Star. I don't remember his line, but yeah. So then we go to the second Death Star. Luke's watching as like the Starfleet is just blown up. And by the way, the space battle in this movie is amazing. The Battle of Endor, the space part of it, is fantastic, and the ground part of it's really awesome as well. We get to see the AT-STs, which we saw a glimpse of in Empire Strikes Back, and yeah, they're super awesome. I mean, I love the way the Ewoks have all these traps set up, like how the way the AT-STs get like destroyed by like logs rolling under its feet, or getting just smashed in the head. I really like the action in this movie. It's really creative the way the Ewoks took them down. Something I've always noticed with like Return of the Jedi, though, is that the effects are probably the weakest in the original trilogy, and the reason I say that is because there's some parts where the green screen is just really noticeable, mainly at the beginning on Tatooine when they're on the sail barge. You can just like see around Chewbacca that there's just obviously green, and I mean, it doesn't bother me personally, but it's just something I've always noticed. So the effects are probably the weakest in this film, but I mean, still, the effects are still pretty good for the most part. I love the speeder bark chase. Yeah, this movie just has a lot of really freaking awesome action sequences. But let's talk about the lightsaber fight. Now, obviously, Emperor Palpatine wants to turn Luke to the dark side because he thinks he would be, like, this really strong member. So we see him basically tormenting Luke, saying, like, strike me down, give in to the hate, kill me, and complete your journey to the dark side. And Luke's tempted, and at one point he actually tries to kill Palpatine, but Vader's like, nah, son, and sticks his lightsaber in front of there, and then we get, like, my favorite lightsaber fight of all time. Now, as much as I love the fight in Empire Strikes Back, because it's just, they're confronting each other finally, the reason I like the one in Return of the Jedi more is because there's much more of an emotional weight to it. I find Empire's lightsaber fight, I mean, doesn't really have that much of an emotional weight to it. Luke's just pissed about Obi-Wan, and he just wants to kill Vader, while Vader's just like, oh, I'm gonna try to turn this guy to the dark side. And yes, we do get, like, the I am your father scene, which is, pretty emotional and weighing, but this whole fight as a whole just has so much more to it, because now that they're fighting after Luke knows that it is his father, and obviously, my favorite part of this fight is when Vader's like, if you won't turn to the dark side, perhaps she will, referring to Leia. Luke just goes crazy and just starts slamming Vader down. He kicks Vader's ass, he cuts off his hand, and the music in that scene is so, like, amazing in my opinion. It's just, it sounds so, it's not like, the super badass theme, like the one where it's like, Vader and Luke fighting Episode 5, but it's just this really, like, emotional sounding, like, music while Luke's, basically almost turning to the dark side. And I've always loved how Luke's just, you can see it in his eyes, like, he's thinking about turning. Or not thinking about it, but, like, he could turn because he's, like, about to kill Vader. I love that scene so much, but he throws away his lightsaber, Palpatine electrocutes him, and I just love that moment as a whole. I think it's fantastic. And then, of course, Vader decides that, he's seeing his son being tortured, so he just throws Emperor Palpatine down the shaft, and he dies. And then Vader dies, which is probably the most emotional Star Wars death out there. Him and Yoda, like, both have super emotional deaths. The Battle of Endor is won, the Death Star is blown up, and yeah, I think the side characters in this movie, like, are fantastic. I've got to mention first, though, the main character is obviously Luke. This is my favorite version of Luke in any Star Wars movie. I mean, in A New Hope, he's just really whiny, but I still like him. In Empire Strikes Back, he's really great because he's becoming a Jedi, and in this film, he's just a full-on Jedi. I love Luke in this film. This is my favorite portrayal of him. I have heard that Mark Hamill is amazing in Last Jedi, so I cannot wait to see that. But yeah, I love him in this movie. This is my favorite version of Vader as well, because, he just wants to turn his son, but at the same time, he's just seeing how his son's being tortured, and, this conflict with Vader as well, and I love that. I love, like, those two characters so much in this movie. Then we get Palpatine, of course, who is a great villain. He doesn't have that much screen time in this movie, about 15 minutes, I'd say, maybe even less than Vader did in A New Hope. But for when he's there, he is fantastic just because of all the lines he's saying. He's so evil and menacing, and he just wants Luke to go evil. The side characters in this movie are pretty good. Leia, I really like Leia in this movie. I think she's very good, personally. I know some people think the side characters in this film are a lot weaker, but I like her a lot. Same with Han Solo. I actually love Han in this movie, which is funny because I know a lot of people think he's actually kind of boring in this movie. But I really, really like Han Solo in this movie. Yeah, I just think he's great, just like the other two movies. And Lando Calrissian, who's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I love Lando so much. I actually have Billy D. Williams' autograph. He is great in this movie. I have 2 Star Wars autographs, Billy D. Williams and David Prowse, who plays Darth Vader underneath the suit. But yeah, anyways, He is great in this movie. Billy Dee Williams is fantastic. I love him. I love how he's the one that's like, you know, using the Millennium Falcon. Is really awesome. But yeah, Battle of Endor is great. Chewbacca is great in this movie. All the characters are really, really well done. And yeah, then the movie finally comes to a conclusion. Vader is burned, which is really emotional. I love the redone version of the Force theme, you know, like the Binary Sunset. I actually prefer the Return of the Jedi version when Vader's being burned. And then they celebrate, and the victory's won, and we have, you know, that really great ending where they're all just there looking at the Force ghosts, and they're all grouped up, and the film just ends. And if I have to be honest, I actually prefer the special edition ending more. Now, yes, the Hayden Christensen change is pretty stupid, and I prefer having the original actor there, but I love the music so much more in the special edition. I find the original version of the music, like Yub Nub, I like it, but it doesn't seem like an end of a trilogy kind of movie. It just seems like a little victory theme. Whereas the theme at the end of Return of the Jedi feels like a victory theme, but it also just feels like an end of a trilogy theme, and I love that about it. But anyways, guys, enough about that. The movie's great in my opinion. I love the story, I love the action, the characters are at their best. This movie is fantastic. Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, and probably always will be, guys. 5 more days till The Last Jedi. Five more days. I don't know what to say. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining me with this. Oh yeah, I forgot to give it a rating, but you can kind of tell that it's a 10 out of 10. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching this. I'll see you.